So this is an example number 9 from section 1.4. It says the width of a rectangle is 6 less than twice its length. If the area is 116 square centimeters, what is the length of the diagonal? So you've got a couple things going on here. First of all, you need to solve for the width and the length. And then we're going to use Pythagorean theorem once we have those two lengths to find the length of the diagonal. So let's start by writing an equation for width and length. It says the width of a rectangle is, so that's going to be equals 6 less than twice its length. So you're going to do 2L minus 6 is equal to the length. Now we know the area is 116 square centimeters. So area for a rectangle is length times width. So we know that our length times our width in terms of L is 2L minus 6 is going to equal 116. And then I'm going to distribute. And when I do that, I'm going to get an L squared, which means I've got a quadratic equation. So to solve this, you want to get it set equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract 116 from both sides, and that equals 0. Now if you try to factor this, it doesn't factor, so I'm going to go ahead and use the quadratic formula. So I've got L equals let's say A is 2, B is negative 6, and C is negative 116. So I've got negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared, which is 6, minus 4 times A times C all over 2A. So that's going to give me a positive 6. Make sure if you're using a calculator, you put the negative 6 in parentheses when you square it, because that's going to give you a positive 36. It will not be negative when you square it. And if you don't put parentheses around it, the calculator will give you back a negative. So I'm going to do 36. My two negatives will make that a positive, so I can just do 4 times 2 times 116 is 928 all over 4. Now this will give me two answers, but the square root of 36 plus 928 is bigger than 6. So if I do the minus, it's going to give me a negative answer, and so I just want the positive answer. So in my calculator, I'm going to plug in 6 plus the square root of 36 plus 928, and you can add that before or after, and then divide that by 4, and that gives me 9.262. So that means my length is 9.262, and when I plug that in to get my width, I'm going to have that times 2 minus 6. So my width will be approximately 12.524. So my rectangle's not on to scale because my width would be wider, but that doesn't matter here. So now that I have the length and the width, I can use that to find the diagonal. If you just think of this as a right triangle with sides of 9.262 and 12.524. So I'm going to do A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And when you plug that into the calculator, I'm going to have I'm going to have 242.635 equals c squared, and then I'm going to square root both sides. And again, I just want the positive answer because I'm talking about the length of a side. And that's going to give me 15.58 when I round that to the nearest. I think it says round on the question. It says round to 2 decimal places. So that will be the length of the diagonal.